Good morning and welcome to the C&C Auto Show. Our experts, Aaron Clements and John Ryan Moody, are cranked up and ready to roll. Here's your chance to get free advice, tips, and information about your car, truck, and SUV. It's the C&C Auto Show.
And I would like to also welcome you to the C&C Auto Show, and I am Aaron Clements.
And I'm John Ryan.
Okay, welcome to the show.
See the personality difference?
Yeah, a little slightly. We're both here to give you information on ways to make your car, truck, your SUV safer, to make it more dependable, and to make it last longer for less money and less hassle. And we have several methods of doing that, but our preferred method is by the phone. On Saturday mornings between 8 and 10, you can join the show at 706-863-5800, or you can watch the show at ccautoshow.com at any other time. You can send your question to ccautoshow@gmail.com. We'll try our very best to answer those on the air. You can also watch past shows on our YouTube channel. That's at the CC Auto Show channel there. And this show has to do with automotive apps. And I've talked on a previous show, I talked about my favorite automotive app, and I'm going to mention that one more time now. And that is the Napa Auto Care app. Along with many other things, you can track the maintenance on your car. You can take a picture of your car and have it there so you'll know which car you're working with. You can scan the serial number in with your camera, do that, or you can manually put your information into your car. You can call your shop. You can look up what certain trouble lights might mean on your car. It has an accident checklist that I think is really neat. Reminds you to take pictures and get the information that you should get. So really neat app. So it would be a great idea to download the Napa Auto Care app. Now, in the meantime, I do want to mention that if you want to find a good professional repair facility, go to NapaAutoCare.com. And if you would like to purchase automotive parts, including light bulbs, wipers, water pumps, anything that you're doing, go to NapaOnline.com to find the Napa Auto Parts store near you. And John Ryan, are you ready to do our favorite thing that we enjoy doing more than anything else on a Saturday morning?
Absolutely. I'm glad you clarified.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Let's do it.
Let's go over to John.
Great. Good morning, John. Welcome to the C&C Auto Show.
Yeah, hey guys, how you doing?
We are doing great now that you called. Thank you.
Well, I've got a problem with my transmission that I'm hoping you can help me with. I've talked to a lot of people and can't seem to get a diagnosis on it.
What's going on with it, John?
Well, I've got an '05 Ford F-150, and at about 40 to 45 miles an hour, if I'm going up a slight uphill grade and it tries to downshift on its own, it feels like I'm going over those hazard bumps on the side of I-20.
Ooh, the washboard effect.
You know what, though?
Yeah,
we got good
exactly.
news for John.
Yeah, we do.
John, you want us to be real honest with you?
Sure.
Sit down, John.
You're looking in the wrong area.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
Okay.
a transmission problem. That's actually an ignition problem. What you run into is at that speed, you're in basically the final drive gear it's got. You're in overdrive, and the converter is locked up. And what it's doing to the engine, it's really stressing it out because, of course, you're at low RPM at a higher speed, like you mentioned, about 50 miles an hour, and it's really straining that engine to go up a hill or a grade. And what we see all the time on those Ford trucks is that when you have an ignition breakdown, the best way we describe it is a fish bite. Is that how you would describe it? Just feels
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
yeah, just like you mentioned, like you're running over the little rumble strips. And what you've got is a ignition misfire. Of course, that being an 8-cylinder, if one cylinder drops out pretty quickly or violently, you're going to feel it just like that because, of course, it's not contributing at that point when it's misfiring. The trick is, we always joke there's several cars that, of course, the check engine light would turn on and say, hey, misfire number 4. You could take the coil, the plug, and the fuel injector right out of that vehicle and the light wouldn't turn on. So there, it's a little bit of a chore diagnosing which cylinder it is. There's 2 ways to do it. Ideally, if you have the factory scan tool, there's what's called a power balance. It shows a graph of which cylinders is contributing. Of course, what you want to do is get it in that exact same situation, going up a grade, just a slight incline, give it a little bit more fuel, and you'll feel it boom, 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 skip like that. And the graph will actually show you what cylinder it is. If you don't have a tool like that, you have another one that reads mode 6 data, which is the data over several different drive cycles, the gathered data. It basically it shows a history of what cylinder has misfired and what in a percentage how many times it's misfired. and that typically leads you to the right area. One thing I didn't get from you, or we didn't get from you, was the mileage. Roughly how many miles are on this truck?
There's about 140K on it.
Okay. Has it ever been tuned up?
It has, as a matter of fact.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is because, of course, a lot of times a spark plug will cause this very problem. But unfortunately, on these Fords, anything with a 5.4 or 4.6, of course, there's some bigger V8s that also use what they call coil on plug. That truck actually has 8 individual coils and, of course, 8 spark plugs. What we see the most common is, unfortunately, a lot of times people go over their recommended interval for a tune-up, which on that one's about 100,000. And what that does is when the gap gets larger, of course, as the spark plugs wear, the coil has to deliver a really hot spark, and it has to travel further than what is an ideal situation. So it kind of stresses the coils, and in a lot of cases it can take it out. If you've had yours tuned up, it's just probably safe to say that you do have a coil failing. Typically, fuel injectors on that particular truck, they don't come and go, and they're definitely not as abrupt as like what you're describing, just, again, like a fish fight. So I do feel like you have an ignition misfire, which is a good thing because, of course, this is a lot cheaper than any transmission, even if it was a used one. And what you would want to do is find out what cylinder it is, replace that coil, and you should be okay.
And, of course, you guys can take care of that for me if I brought it into you.
Absolutely. We could do that.
Okay, well, great. Well, that's good news.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought for sure I had something going bad with my torque converter and my transmission, and you guys just saved my day for me.
Yeah, and a lot of people, and I totally understand that because, when you drive it, it feels like the transmission's slipping. And then, what gets a lot of people, they say, I take overdrive off and it goes away. Well, that's because you're now in a different RPM range and you're not loading the engine just like you were in overdrive, practically off of idle. That's at about 1,400 RPMs when it does it. And again, that's because it's pulling a, 6,000 pound vehicle up a grade, and that engine's really, really working hard. So that's kind of the situation of why it misfires at that load. And kind of what it does.
Outstanding. Well, I sure appreciate your help with that, and I think I'm going to be seeing you guys this week to diagnose that and get that fixed for me.
Well, that's great. We'd love to help you.
Okay. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you, John. And I was going to mention one quick thing. It's time for our car gadget, and then we'll be going straight to Barry in North Augusta. If you have an older car with a cassette player and you'd like some new technology, there's a Bluetooth cassette adapter. Your car's cassette player instantly becomes wireless Bluetooth receiver. And just like that, you can stream music from your Bluetooth music player or phone. No complicated installation, no cables, no tangled or snagged tape. Just pop it in and automatically turns on. Plus, you have a hands-free solution for phone calls thanks to the built-in microphone. That could be a great gadget for many cars.
That is neat. I like that.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of neat.
Cool.
Where we're going?
All right, let's go to Barry.
Okay. Good morning, Barry. Welcome to the C&C Auto Show.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing very well. Appreciate the call.
Thank you for taking it. I've got a 1923 model T-Bucket, and it's a replica hot rod, and it's got a 350 engine in it and a 350 tranny.
Wow, that sounds neat.
Yeah, sounds fun.
I'm really having a trouble with the. I think I'm having a trouble with the torque converter. When you crank it up and you apply fuel to it or put the car under a load,
right?
It's appearing that it's making a real loud racket, and what it's actually doing is the flex plate is actually touching the starter gear, and it's got a mini starter on a high torque mini starter on the side of the block. And I've shimmed it out, but I've gotten to the point where I've shimmed it to, and I'm kind of worried about it engaging into the flex plate. And I noticed that it don't hit the starter until you hit the throttle and put a load onto the engine. And there's like a real slight gap between the starter gear and the flex plate. And my question is, I'm wondering how much that flex plate is supposed to actually flex, and I'm kind of worried that if that I might actually have a crack in the flex plate, and I really don't know where it would be cracked at, because I've inspected as much as I could on the flex plate without pulling the motor or anything.
Right.
But it seems to be flexing about, I don't know, a quarter of an inch.
Okay. Barry, I got a few questions for you. As far as the starter goes, like you mentioned, the gear, do you feel like the actual starter throwout gear is actually returning all the way in the starter, in the actual Bendix?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
But you can see where the flex plate is actually grinding on the outside of the gear. It's just cutting into the gear. But it appears to me that it's, it may be, of course, when I bought the car, the engine and the transmission, I don't really know much about.
Sure. Well, there's a few other things that I can think of. Does the starter engage everywhere? Like, I know that sounds crazy, but do you have any problems starting it? Like, is there a possibility that of course, when these flywheels break and crack, they can, of course, distort. So it can do several things. It can cause it to be out of round, and then, of course, actual run out. Physical run out on the back of it, like warped. We've seen them to where they only start in certain spots, of course, when they're cracked. But does it seem to have any problems starting?
No, never. I mean,
Okay.
It fires right up.
Right.
Every time.
The other thing I can think of, and I've seen it a handful of times, normally doesn't really cause any starter engagement issues, but when the thrust bearings have too much wear in the engine, the crankshaft is allowed to shift, forward to the radiator, back towards the transmission.
Mm-hmm.
When you mentioned you put it in a gear, I'm like putting these things in my head here. Of course, you're putting a strain on it, and I'm wondering if the transmission is, or of course, when you put it in gear, of course, all your clutch packs are lining up and all that stuff. I'm wondering if it's not actually either pushing it back or pushing it forward. I guess it would have to push it forward to contact the starter, being that the starter's on the forward engine side. So you could grab the harmonic balancer, and if it does have significant play, or enough to say it has play, you should be able to push it in, pull it out. Sometimes you need to use a pry bar for that, and I'm sure the flywheel side would be easier to do that test on. But you definitely got something going on there, whether it be the cracked flex plate like you mentioned, and really, unfortunately, where they crack is normally around the bolting location. The 6 to 8 bolts where it bolts on the crank, they normally crack right there. And what happens is, of course, if it cracks in one spot, it's going to twist, because, of course, the starter's twisting it. And it, as far as physically looking in there, torque converter's mated to it and the crank's mated to the other side, so you'd never see that. You would have to either, pull the engine or drop the trans to be absolutely sure. And you got some tips on that one?
No, I think you covered 90% of what I was thinking about. As a matter of fact, I was trying to come up with, think of other ideas,
other directions
that would go with it. But really, most of the ones you mentioned are the most likely. I lean a little bit toward being concerned about the play in the crankshaft thrust bearing a little bit, and that was the main one.
And Barry, one thing, of course, be very precautious and safe when you're doing this. But had you looked at the flywheel while it's running?
Right, that's how I knew it was touching the starter. I actually thought it was the torque converter the whole time, but it only did it, when you put a load on the car, and and then I got down on the ground and just hit the throttle real hard one time, and I could see it actually touching the starter, and I was like, man, there's my problem.
Yeah, unfortunately, Barry, I mean, I would hope it's a flywheel issue, because, of course, that can be repaired without actually going in the engine. But I just worry that it's either going to be the flywheel or too much, crankshaft walk is what they call it. It's going to walk forward. And of course, again, the starter's on the forward side, going towards the radiator. So I don't know that that's good news, but I do feel like doing that next test, prying the flywheel to the transmission, see how much it moves, pry it back to the engine, see how much it moves. And believe it or not, they make kind of a noise when they do that thump noise,
And then if it's not that, of course, next step is to shine a light up through there and look very closely for any cracks. But if you don't see any, you may have to do some disassembly to go to the next step.
Okay. To eliminate, I really want to eliminate this torque converter. The engine, I'm guessing the engine, it's a crate motor. It's stock. It's probably I bet it doesn't have 3,000 miles on it.
Right.
According to the last owner that I had it. fairly stock motor.
Sure.
But I can tell, that it's got some sort of shift kit in the transmission, and they put a high stall torque converter. I can tell I have to rev the engine up a little bit to get it, to
actually move
forward. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know much about transmissions at all. I'm more of a motor guy, but
right.
I don't understand why they really did that. I mean, it's not a race car or nothing like that, and, but I don't really understand why they put such a high stall torque converter on it.
Right.
And I'd love to eliminate that totally.
Yeah, the I can't really think of anything that would in the torque converter. Of course, if it was not mated in the pump correctly, of course, there's two little splines or drives that the torque converter mates in the front pump of the transmission. But typically, if that's not mated, the transmission won't bolt up. You'll have a gap in between the bell housing and the engine. So I don't think that's it. The torque converter is not going to push forward because it really can't. It's riding on the bushing on the transmission side, and of course the flywheel or flex plate is what's holding it on the other side. Now, if it was loose and stuff like that, again, it's still not going to push that flywheel forward into the starter.
Okay.
So, again, I really feel like it's going to be probably a cracked flex plate. Knowing that the engine's practically new, I'm hoping to just rule that out. It's still a possibility, but.
And I'll mention one last thing before we go to a quick break. I'm going to mention that it wouldn't hurt just to be double sure that starter is retracting all the way.
Absolutely.
Kind of reach up in there and push it with a screwdriver, make sure it won't go any further. And if it's not that, then you do need to check the thrust bearing stuff.
All right, okay. Aaron, well, let's close this first break.
All right, we're going to close the first break, and when we return, we will mention another great app that you can use if you don't have an exact destination in mind. Right after this.
This entire piece of music was played with only two instruments, a right hand and a left hand. Hands can do incredible things, but nothing compares to using them to help save a life with hands-only CPR. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. Hands-only CPR is recommended by the American Heart Association, and it's incredibly easy and effective. Find out more about this latest method of CPR at handsonlycpr.org. The power to help save a life is in your hands. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome to the C&C Auto Show. This portion of the C&C Auto Show is brought to you in part by the Napa Auto Care Centers near you. Regular maintenance is a key to getting the most out of your vehicle, but you shouldn't have to sacrifice trust and peace of mind when finding a repair center for your automobile. Napa Auto Care Centers are built around a quality standard where independent repair business owners are invited to join based on integrity, qualifications, and expertise. That's how Napa Auto Care ensures that you get the best-in-class service that you deserve. From routine maintenance to major repairs, you are covered with ASE certified technicians that use high-quality Napa parts and provide exceptional work that you can feel confident about knowing it's backed by a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. With the largest network of independent technicians in the U.S., a Napa Auto Care Center is sure to be near wherever you might be. It's like having a friend everywhere you go. For a list of Napa Auto Care Centers near you, go to napaautocare.com or dial 1-800-LET-NAPA.
Thanks for listening to the C&C Auto Show with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney, two real live automotive maintenance and repair experts who actually work on all kinds of vehicles every week, so they're always up to date on what's happening in the automotive world. We'll be right back with more of the C&C Auto Show before you know it, so don't you dare touch that dial.
If you're planning to buy a nice used car, you have two routes that you can go. You can decide what you want and what you plan to spend. You hit the internet to find a car, take your weekend or time off work, and then you go look at the car. Then hope that the person that's selling the car is honest and that the title's good, because you know that once you buy it, you're probably on your own. The second way to buy a nice used car is to decide what you want, what you plan to spend, while gaining advice from a professional that has been in the business for over 30 years. And instead of spending your weekend looking at cars, you tell this professional to find what you're looking for if he or she doesn't already have it. Then you buy the car knowing that this professional is honest and dependable. The professional is Philip Hawkins at Philip Hawkins Motor Company. So if you're looking for a nice used car, call the professionals at Philip Hawkins Motor Company, located at 2000 Jefferson Davis Highway in Graniteville, South Carolina. For more information, go to hawkinsmc.com, or you can give them a call at 803-593-5990.
This is Joey. Leave a message at the beep.
Joey, this is Katie. You promised me you'd call in the morning, and that was 2 weeks ago.
Is your computer guy treating you like a bad date? Constantly missing deadlines? Not fixing things right the first time? Giving you the geek speak runaround?
Katie, this is Joey. It's not you. It's me. I lied. It's you.
It's time to break up and see other people. Make a date with IntelliSystems.
President and CEO Kevin Wade.
Rely on us for your technology so you can focus on your business.
Hello, this is Joey.
Joey! Ugh.
At IntelliSystems, we answer our phones live. No technical jargon. We speak plain English, promise to respond in 60 minutes or less for most problems, and you often get someone right away.
Well, hello.
Our clients certify our industry-best customer service.
IntelliSystems, the small business IT department. IntelliSystems.com.
Asked the girl what she wanted to be. She said, baby, can't you see? I want to be famous, a star of the screen.
Now back to more of the C&C Auto Show with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney.
And we are back, and we are talking about automotive apps, and we're answering automotive questions. And if you go to ccautoshow.com, watch us live, you can see the apps in the background that we have. They'll be on the screen behind us, so you'll get an idea of what they look like. And one of the many apps that are really good for this type situation is Around Me. And this app makes it easy to find nearby points of interest. Using your phone and GPS sensor, Around Me will locate the nearest bank, bar, gas station, hospital, hotel, movie theater, restaurant, supermarket, just a lot of other stuff. And perfect for people that find themselves in unfamiliar territory from time to time. This app is a must-have for those who go on road trips with no defined destination in mind. Around Me is only available for iOS. And John Ryan, where should we go?
And let's go over to Charles. He's been holding for us.
Perfect. And good morning, Charles, and welcome to the C&C Auto Show.
It's probably going to be a little more complicated than the one before if you want to tackle it.
Absolutely. We will. We are ready.
All right. Just kidding. I got a 2010 Maxima with a headlamp out, and I'm getting prices of $200 to replace it. Is that fair?
Charles, those vehicles, the headlights, of course, are very difficult to get to. Most of these vehicles, I believe on your Maxima, the whole housing actually has to come out because there's no real access hole to get the actual headlamp removed, of course, the actual bulb itself. Not to mention those bulbs are pretty expensive also. So, if I had to just make we call it a guesstimate, that sounds about right, unfortunately. If now I will give you a tip on most of the ones that the actual bumper cover has to come off, because a lot of these vehicles, you have to take the bumper cover out to get the headlamp out. I do recommend going ahead and replacing both of them. Reason being is you wouldn't want to pay labor for it twice, and if one's failed, the other one's behind it.
Oh, I see. You think the bumper has to come off?
Well, I can't, to be honest with you, on a Maxima, it's been a while since we've done one. They're not really common. Now, I know the Malibus, the bumper's got to come off. There's some Impalas the same way. But the Nissan, for some reason, I do remember it being a task. It's not just easy, reach your hand back there and pop it in there. But that one is difficult.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
All right. Hope that helps.
And thank you, Charles. Okay, we are ready for a quick description of an app, and I think John Ryan has a couple of.
Oh yeah, well actually I found a pretty cool one pretty recently. Mm-hmm. It's basically like a dyno app, and it's called, let's see what's it called. It's called Logworks, and basically you hit start, and of course you don't do this on the road, obviously.
Yes.
Closed course only.
It'll tell you that.
Yeah, it tells you that in the fine print. It also says don't look at it while doing it, which makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, you can, set it up, hit start.
How do you know not to look?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, you set it up, you hit start, and it can measure different things like quarter-mile time, 8-mile time. It gives I would say it's an estimation of horsepower. I can't imagine it being perfectly correct. But it's a really neat app. And apparently there's some cables you can buy to connect to your data link connector, and you can read different data. You can also read trouble codes and everything. So it's a pretty neat app. So look it up, Logworks.
What I'm wondering is if next week you will try it out and let us know what the horsepower shows on your truck.
Only
and
if
see
it's
how,
good.
Yeah, and see how that way we know how accurate it is. Because
Okay.
I know you have the horsepower of your
we
truck.
can do that.
You can get us a few ideas. So
there you go. We'll
John
see if it's
Ryan will be
correct.
doing a new report next week. We will be doing research on the dyno app.
We can try it on the Prius.
Yeah. It won't go that low.
Maybe not.
But I do love the Prius.
It'll pop up a question mark. Is this a golf cart?
Yeah. Except for to measure fuel mileage, and it'll do very well.
It actually does. Seriously, it has an economy feature also.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, evidently, start to finish, and then it, of course, mileage, and then it calculates the fuel.
Wow. That sounds like a pretty neat app to go to. Okay, I want to remind everyone that on Saturday mornings from 8 to 10, you can join us live at 706-863-5800. And any other time, you can send us a email, ccautoshow@gmail.com. We'll try our very best to answer those on the air. And you can also catch us on YouTube to do that.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that we want to mention, we did not get a chance to do the fuel report, so we'll just mention a fuel report real quickly.
Yeah, then we'll run to a quick break.
Yeah, and then we'll be going over to a real quick break. And on the fuel report, it's all good news. I mean, I could read the report, but what it amounts to is we're getting gas at under $2 a gallon.
I know. It's almost scary to talk about, honestly.
It is. And actually, it's very much under $2 a gallon, which is really, really neat to even talk about.
Yep.
So fuel report's all good. So we'll take a real quick break, and we'll talk about another great, really good automotive app as soon as we return.
Take an ordinary putty knife and scrape off the old wax ring. Place the new wax ring over the flange, then line up the bolts with the bowl and gently set in place, making sure a proper seal is created with the flange and drain. Next.
Dad?
Yeah, sweetie.
Is that an old plumbing manual?
Oh, yeah, honey.
We really need to get some new books.
Right, do you want me to stop?
Nah, I kind of want to know how it ends.
Okay. Tighten the bolts, line up the flushing valve to the opening in the top of the bowl, and secure the tank with a screwdriver and crescent wrench.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome to the C&C Auto Show. This portion of the C&C Auto Show is brought to you in part by the Napa Auto Care Centers near you. Today's vehicles are more advanced than ever before. The technology that goes into each vehicle is constantly changing, which means the methods and tools needed to repair them are constantly changing too. Automobile technicians must have current skills and knowledge to keep pace with the ever-changing vehicles. That's why many Napa Auto Care Centers employ qualified ASE certified technicians. The National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence is an independent, non-profit organization that tests and certifies individual and automotive repair technicians based on skill, knowledge, and experience. So next time you need a knowledgeable automotive professional, all you have to do is look for the blue and white ASE certified seal at your Napa Auto Care Center. There are now over 15,000 Napa Auto Care Centers nationwide. For the list of the repair facilities near you, go to NapaAutoCare.com or dial 1-800-LET-NAPA. C&C Automotive is proud to be on that list.
You're listening to the C&C Auto Show with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney, two ASE certified master technicians who really appreciate you taking your time to join us today. We'll be right back with more from Aaron and John Ryan. So stay right here where you are for more great car care advice on the C&C Auto Show.
When buying a house, most people go to a real estate agent. That way, the agent can help them decide their budget, their needs, and their desires. The agent also helps them to understand the financing, insurance paperwork concerning the house and make sure that it has a clear title and that you're aware of any known pre-existing conditions. Well, that's exactly what Philip Hawkins of Philip Hawkins Motor Company does with the nice, clean, quality used cars that he sells. Philip and his team are true professionals that will let you make the decisions, but give you the information and guidance that you need to make a good, well-informed decision. Most people would not dream of buying a house without a real estate agent. Well, why buy a nice used car, truck, or SUV without Philip Hawkins? Philip Hawkins Motor Company is located at 2000 Jefferson Davis Highway in Graniteville, South Carolina. They also have a great website with pictures and lots of cars that are in stock at hawkinsmc.com, or you can give them a call at 803-593-5990.
Worry dolls are very small and colorful dolls traditionally made in Guatemala. A person who cannot sleep due to worrying can express their worries to a doll and place it under the pillow before going to sleep. According to folklore, the doll is thought to worry in the person's place, thereby permitting the person to sleep peacefully. The person will wake up without their worries, having been taken away by the dolls during the night.
Don't you wish it was that easy to get rid of your business IT worries?
IntelliSystems President and CEO Kevin Wade.
IntelliSystems has been around for 21 years. Rely on us for your technology so you can focus on your business. We answer our phones live. No technical jargon. We speak plain English, promise to respond in 60 minutes or less for most problems, and you often get someone right away.
IntelliSystems, the small business IT department.
Our clients certify our industry-best customer service. Call us at IntelliSystems and put your technology worries at ease.
No worry doll required.
IntelliSystems.com.
Well, she got her daddy's car and she cruised through the hamburger stand now. Seems she forgot all about the library like she told her old
Let's go back to the CCB studios in downtown Augusta with more of today's C&C Auto Show. Here's Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney.
And we are back, and we are talking about automotive apps and answering automotive questions. Another good app to keep on your phone is iRect, and it's a little bit like a first aid kit in your trunk. You really hope you'll never have to use it, but it's there just in case you do. And it helps to take some of the stress out of dealing with an accident. Now, I mentioned there's a neat checklist on the Napa Auto Care app
Yeah, they have
also.
a neat
So
one, yeah.
having it there and having it here would be a good thing. The app allows you to assemble an organized accident report that includes photos of the crash scene and vehicle damage. And the app also allows you to contact information and locate information of nearby police stations. If you need to report the damage to the authorities and don't need an emergency service, you can do that. And additionally, it offers contact information for taxis and a tow truck. iRect is available for iOS and Android, and this is where you get information concerning your car, truck, or SUV. Join us on Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 live at 706-863-5800. Other times you can ask your automotive question at ccautoshow@gmail.com. And where are we going?
And let's go over to Linda.
Perfect. Good morning, Linda, and welcome to the show.
Good morning. I just have a quick question. It's about my windshield. I want to know, because my car is a 2003 Ford Escape, never had the windshield replaced, and it's like a safety thing. Sometimes when driving at night, when the lights hit you can hear like see little prisms, and I guess because of pitching and things like that. I want to know, does the windshield have to be replaced, or can you polish it?
That's a very good question. You know, if you're seeing the little prisms like that, I can tell you that in most cases, and of course, just like you mentioned, road debris and everything just puts minor scratches on them. But one thing that's overlooked a lot is wiper blades. Wiper blades can cut little tiny grooves in them. Of course, you can't even see them until it's like what you're saying. You know, the lights are shining on them. So, you know, make sure you got a good set of wiper blades on there. But yes, you can actually put a compound on a windshield, and you know, typically it's done with a buffer, and buff it out. Now, sometimes that just reduces the amount that you see.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's never just it fixed it by any means, but you can make it better. It would be a good attempt before you replaced it. But, you know, windshield prices have come down on your everyday car. Yeah. Now, of course, if you have a BMW with rain sensing wipers, a heated windshield, a GPS antenna, and a radio antenna, and you're looking at, you know, half the price of the car. But on something like that, you know, they've come down so much that I would say it may be a good investment for you to just replace the windshield.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, I think when you start getting quotes for that windshield, I don't think it's going to be as bad as you think it is. And there's a chance, like if you was to try to get somebody to polish and it costs you $40 or $50, in a lot of cases that might be a 25% of what a whole nother windshield might be.
Okay.
Yeah, so you make I would link. It sounds like you like your car, and it sounds like you like to drive at night.
And you value seeing.
Wintertime's coming. Linda, you work hard. I'm going to say get you a windshield.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
That was easy.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Okay, enjoy that windshield.
Right,
oh, Linda, get some new wiper blades too.
Yeah. Oh, and let's mention that part real quick.
Okay.
One of the leading causes to the scenario that she mentioned is people not changing their wiper blades. They say, well, I see okay, and it don't rain that off. Well, the rubber gets hard. It slowly eats up that windshield, and then just like you mentioned, you'll be right. You don't really know about it until you look through the windshield at night, and then you got a great car that you enjoy driving, but you can't see at night.
While you're on the subject of windshields, that's the same thing for forgetting to clean it. Remember your tech tip before about not cleaning the windshield?
And so many people think they can't see through a windshield or can't see at night.
Or my headlights are dim and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then kind of find out the inside has a film on it because the plastic and the materials inside the car emit a certain amount of gases, and those gases stick to the windshield.
Yep.
And you may take your car to top-notch car wash all the time, which is a great idea. And if you want to get the whole deal done, they can clean the inside of the windshield. But if you just do the drive-through, you may not get the inside cleaned all the time. So every now and then when you go through there, you might tell them to do the whole deal, or you might decide to clean it yourself. But from time to time, do the inside of the windshield. Great idea.
That's right. All right, Aaron, let's go over to Bob.
Man, I am ready. Let's go to Bob. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, good morning, y'all. Hey, I got a 2003 Dodge Dakota, and I replaced the radiator and the thermostat, and I noticed I was going down the road and it was overheating. I'm not hearing my fan kick on. And I was looking at my fuse box. I didn't see anything that had for a fan. Do all fans or not fans have circuits or fuses?
Bob, what model is this again?
It's a 2003 Dodge Dakota.
And what engine?
It's a 6-cylinder.
So it's got a 6-cylinder, and it has a electric fan and a belt-driven fan, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That fan, well, you mentioned going down the road. Now, you shouldn't hear it going off down the road.
Well, the car was overheating. I pulled over, and it wasn't coming on at
Okay, perfect. That's what I was going to ask, if it was overheating and the fan wasn't on.
all. Oh, it was overheating, and the fan wasn't coming on.
Okay, excellent. There's several different tests for that. You're right. There is a fuse controlling that fan, of course, because it's electrical circuit. But there's also sensors that control that. For instance, your ECT, your engine coolant temperature sensor. If it's not sending a proper reading to the car's computer, it will never trigger that fan to come on. However, that fan on that particular model is typically used only for AC. Now, you're right. If it overheats, it will cut it on as a default. But normally your fan, your belt-driven fan, is what It was going to keep the coolant temperature cool for just everyday driving. You cycle the AC on when the high side pressure reaches a certain number, typically over 225 or so.
Right.
That electric fan will come on just to further more that cooling. So you could have a problem with your belt-driven fan, but you mentioned it was going down the road when overheating. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
So we can rule out the fans right now. Now, no doubt you do have a problem because it's not coming on, but going down the road, if you were going down I-20 from here to wherever, neither one of the fans would run because, of course, the air going across the radiator is taking care of that. So I guess you have a two-part problem. You definitely have a cooling fan problem, like you mentioned, but something else is causing that.
I did notice, too, because usually to try to get rid of heat, I turn on my heat.
Right.
And no heat's coming out.
Okay.
I try to go full heat to try to remove some of the heat off the block.
Sure.
And it's just blowing cold air. It's not getting hot.
Okay.
I figured it should be getting hot.
Do you have any coolant leaks that you know of?
No, not anymore. Nothing. Like I said, I just replaced the radiator and the thermostat yesterday.
Have you bled the system out? The reason I ask is because, of course, the heater core is at a higher level than the radiator cap on that model.
Yes, sir.
So when you fill it up, of course, there's going to be an air pocket in the actual heater core, which, the size of these heater cores, some of them are, I don't know, first thing comes to mind, the size of a laptop screen. So they're pretty big. So if they're not properly bled out, when that air that's trapped in the heater core goes through the engine, it can actually cause it to overheat because that engine coolant temperature sensor can only read coolant. It cannot read air.
Well, that could be a possibility there.
Yeah, so double check the coolant level again today because, of course, if it overheat, it should have pulled the coolant into the heater core and top it off and see how it does today because you very well could have just had an air pocket, and that would be ideal and that would make sense to why your cooling fan didn't come on too because that sensor can't read air, only coolant, only liquid.
Okay. I'll give that a check, and I'll try that and see how we do.
That sounds great.
And thank you, Bob. And it's time for a real quick break, and we'll tell you about another really, really must-have app as soon as we return.
Last night we put on an epic light show.
Yeah, we did.
The crowd loved us. We love the crowd.
Wait, but there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? All 8 of their eyes lit up brighter than ours. And we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are.
Hey, that one girl, she looked like she'd never seen glow-in-the-dark like this before, and we invented glow-in-the-dark.
Yeah, we invented it.
And we're gonna be out here every night, rocking out our light show at a forest near you.
Woohoo!
So come check us out.
Check us out.
And bring your kid, all ages show. Oh, but don't bring any of those glass jars, because they make us kind of nervous.
Yeah, and I'm super claustrophobic.
Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you and discover other cool things to do when you go, like fishing, biking, or even camping. Visit discovertheforest.org.
See you later!
Yeah, see you soon.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome to the C&C Auto Show. This hour is brought to you in part by your local Napa Auto Care Centers. For as far back as I can remember, Napa Auto Parts has been known as the parts supplier for the professional automotive repair shops. I remember walking into our local Napa store when I was just 13 years old. It was like a social club for technicians. We would talk to other technicians about new techniques and equipment. We knew we were buying good quality parts, and we would all get advice from the very knowledgeable people standing at the counter. Wow, those were great memories. Well, a lot has changed over the years. We now order most of our parts online, and we very seldom pick our parts up. We place the order, and they magically appear a short period of time later. We have megabytes of information at our fingertips. The name of the game is to get it done correctly but fast. But some things have stayed the same. Napa still caters to the professional shops, and they still sell good, high-quality parts. Some good things just get better. To find a Napa Auto Care Center near you, go to napaautocare.com.
Thank you for sharing your morning with us right here on the C&C Auto Show, hosted by Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney, 2 ASC certified master technicians who believe in helping you make your car run better, last longer while saving you money, and having fun all at the same time. We'll be right back soon, so keep listening.
If you're looking for a good used car, truck, or SUV, there is a place that I can proudly recommend that you can call, and that would be my good longtime friend Philip Hawkins at Philip Hawkins Motor Company. I believe that Philip Hawkins Motor Company is the Match.com of cars. They have a great gift of matching a person with the car that is just right for them. It all starts with an interview to determine what your likes and dislikes are. What is your budget and what do you need to do? Next, they interview the car, truck, or SUV by looking at its basic information and history. A representative will introduce you to your potential new vehicle and then let you two be alone to talk for a while. You would not believe the number of couples that come back and say that they would like to be as one. The next thing you know, they are riding down life's highway playing their favorite song on the sound system. So for the car, truck, or SUV of your dreams, go to HawkinsMC.com or call 803-593-5990.
CWR Digital is your one-stop shop for all aspects of digital media and content.
CWR Digital.
CWR Digital is your exclusive, full-service digital marketing services provider, offering local businesses of all sizes the same strategy and rate efficiency that has, until now, been available only to big national brands with huge budgets.
CWR Digital.
CWR Digital makes digital marketing more effective and more affordable.
CWRdigital.com. Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
I might look like an adult, like a person who could possibly be a parent, but I have no idea how to talk like one. And everyone knows that if you want to be a parent, you have to sound good when you say things like, "Don't make me turn this car around," or "because I said so," or "Don't make me come back there." I don't even really know what those things mean, but I know that I actually believed my parents when they said them to me. How did they manage to sound so convincing? Here we go. "Don't make me come back there." Ugh, no, that's not tough enough at all. Kids can sense weakness. "Don't make me come back there." Ooh, yeah, that's better. In fact, that kind of sounded like my dad. Weird.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to listen to you practice your dad voice. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
I've been trying to get to you for a long time, 'cause constantly you've been on my mind. I was thinking about a shortcut I could take, but it seems like I made a mistake.
Let's go back to the CCB studios in downtown Augusta with more of today's C&C Auto Show. Here's Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney.
And we are back, and we are talking about automotive apps, and we're answering automotive questions. And if you do have a question, Saturday morning, 8 to 10, you can give us a call, 706-863-5800. Any other time, you can send your question to ccautoshow@gmail.com. You can also watch us live at ccautoshow.com and watch past shows at our YouTube channel, and that's at the C&C Auto channel. Okay, one of the best apps, well, I would call it a must-have app.
Yeah.
Because there's many, many really nice apps, but this is pretty much a must-have. That's your GasBuddy.com. I'm sure most people that has a smartphone, they have heard of GasBuddy, the GasBuddy app, and you can
mentioned
download
it a good bit too.
Yeah, I even use it on a desktop a lot of times if I'm just kind of checking gas prices, getting some ideas on it. I bring it up. You can download this on the internet or get a free app for your phone, and you can put it in place where you intend to go. Like normally it might ask for the zip code or a city or whatever, and it will give you an idea what the gas prices are, or pretty much exact what most gas prices are. And you will then it'll give you the location of where that is and draw you a little map. As a matter of fact, those that are watching ccautoshow.com can look at the little display behind us. And luckily, we are not in that area. Where's that at, John Ryan?
It looks like Santa Monica Boulevard, Hollywood, Los Angeles.
So now, gas in Los Angeles, California, that station is $3.69.
Zach, is that a screenshot or? Yeah, so Aaron, that may not be correct. That's just a screenshot.
Okay, just a screenshot. Okay. Well, hopefully it's come down since then.
That's right. No
but
doubt.
no telling. Okay, so John Ryan, you had
I
an
did.
app
I
that
wanted
you
to,
wanted to go mention.
Well, it wasn't an app, actually. It was a car. I wanted to tell you about a car we worked on this weekend.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or not weekend, this past week. It's just kind of a little tip. It was a Ford Sport Track, of course, the 4-liter V6 engine. And it came in for a misfire type diagnostics. And, it'd been through several different people. One put plug wires, one put spark plugs, ignition coil, fuel injector, fuel injector O-rings, air intake plenum gaskets, practically everything that would potentially cause a skip. And basically my point of this story is to don't forget the obvious. We ran a compression test on it and it had 0 compression. So it didn't matter if you put the best spark plug in there or used one, it still wasn't going to fire. Of course, we ran the diagnostics, found 0 compression. Of course, at that point, the next step is going to be to remove the valve cover to do a cylinder leakage test. We got the valve cover off, and we actually found a broke valve spring.
Oh, wow.
So, of course, there was no need in doing a leakage test because we knew the valve wasn't actually opening and closing. Valve springs are very common to break on that particular model. Unfortunately, it's a very difficult model to actually replace just the valve spring on because it, of course, is a time and chain driven engine. A lot of the time and chain driven engines, you can still lift the cams up, slide a remove the rocker, put a new spring in it, and go on about your business. This particular engine, as you well know, it has a timing chain in the rear of the engine also.
Yep.
So that basically means that the camshaft is there is no room to pick it up and remove it. So unfortunately, that did need an engine. We did put an engine in it, and it made a good repair. The reason we put an engine in it was because it was closer to 200,000 miles. The engine would have had to come out to do the repair regardless, being with that back rear chain. So the customer did opt for an engine. Of course, that was a good investment because we always do a safety inspection on vehicles that are engine candidates or transmission, because we want to be sure that, we put an engine in there and of course the brakes are good and the transmission seems good. We don't want to just put an engine in there and then find out it needs this, that, and the other. But it's just kind of just a quick tip to really concentrate on diagnostics and make sure you carry it to a shop that has the equipment and the knowledge to diagnose it properly to save you money in the long run.
You spend $100 here, $200 there, $300
well,
there.
Unfortunately, they put almost $1,300 into that repair,
and that would have went a long way toward the actual repair of what it was needed.
Yep, almost take care of the labor. To be honest with you,
Wow.
Sure would. So, just a quick tip.
Very good tip, too. I'm going to mention one other quick app because we just about run out of time here. But there is an app now for garage doors, and I fully intend to eventually get me one like this because so many times I drive different cars home.
Yeah.
Sometimes test driving, sometimes just different shop cars. And each time I may not have a garage door opener of some kind. I don't actually park in the garage, but I do
walk through
it to go through. And it would be great to have one on my iPhone to be able to get in.
I know we're running out. I have one for my home alarm, and of course it does the alarm, the cameras, everything like that. The one thing I need to do, it does do the garage door, but it has to be, of course, a compatible opener, and mine's not. Mine's a little aged, so maybe one day I'll do the old upgrade.
I'm going to do one too. Okay, we are out of time. Whether you tuned in or logged in, we appreciate you riding with us on the C&C Auto Show. It's time to shut her down, and we'll be cranking up a new hour before you know it. You can catch us on Facebook. You can watch us in past shows on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, the C&C Auto Show. Thank you again for listening to the C&C Auto Show.
C&C Automotive, your car care pros.
WGAC Augusta. I have found that one of the most important ingredients to quality car repair, whether you're repairing it yourself or having it repaired, is to use good quality parts. That's why I've been using and recommending Napa parts for many years. They fit, they work, and they last, and they have the Napa name backing that up.
Professionals do not like having to do a job over, and that's why so many professional shops use Napa Auto Parts. My guess is that you don't want to do the job over either, and that's why you should use Napa Parts also. So for a Napa Auto Parts store near you, go to NapaOnline.com and search for the store that is most convenient for you. You'll also see a lot of neat specials and some very useful information. So get the good stuff. Get Napa Auto Parts.